What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. Well, it's going to be a busy day today with presentations all over the place, and that does include a big opening night live for Gamescom, which means there's a lot of teases, rumors, and leaks spreading around online. I figure, since we're kind of hanging out waiting for some of this stuff to happen, I'd put it all into one section and we'd take a look at that here today. Also, we are going to be taking a look at an enhanced edition for a game from 2019 that I kind of thought was done. However, no, we're getting a new version of Shenmue 3. And then we're also going to be taking a look at Microsoft, as they had a recent episode of a podcast where they discussed some of their future endeavors when it comes to Game Pass, as well as next generation hardware. All of that and more. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button. Helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Spawnwave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And of course, members for the channel do get Newswave early. If you would like to learn more about that, click the join button or link in the description down below. And we're going to start today with the direct that happens in about an hour after this video goes live at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. You can see this over on Nintendo's website. That is for Kirby Air Riders. Now, that will be happening 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. It'll run for about 45 minutes, and Masahiro Sakurai will be taking the stage, going over, I'm sure, all the intricate details around Kirby Air Riders. As you've seen with some of his previous Smash Brothers directs, where he talked about individual characters for 30 to 40 minutes, he really doesn't have any issue with talking about very fine mechanics in the game and going on and on and on about some of that stuff, but it is genuinely interesting kind of to hear what he has to say about these different topics and his viewpoints on it. His entire developer series that he had on YouTube proves that, yes, people do enjoy watching Sakurai basically lecture about just video game stuff in general, so it'll be interesting to see what he has in store for us with Kirby Air Riders, as this is kind of his almost his do-over after he had revealed to us that Kirby Air Ride on the GameCube, they had to sort of rebuild from scratch with the gameplay side in about 3.5 months to get it done for its release. So here he had a bit more time, about 3 years it seems, and I expect him to have quite a bit to show us in this 45-minute presentation that'll start, again, about an hour after this video goes live. Also, heading into September, there's been discussion around the idea of Sony having a State of Play and Nintendo having a Direct. Here we're going to be talking about Sony and their State of Play because it has indeed come up. This from Jeff Grubb over on his Game Mess Mornings. And here he mostly said, and this started to make the rounds quickly on many different news websites, that he is confident that there will be a State of Play, even saying people can write headlines about it. But I don't actually think that's very surprising. He also mentioned it could be a showcase, could be a State of Play. I would expect it to be a State of Play that would coincide with Tokyo Game Show, and that would probably happen, I don't know, the second week, we'll say, in September, as many of their third-party partners, indie titles, and most likely 1 or 2 first-party games would make an appearance. It wouldn't shock me if they had something somewhat sizable even to close out the State of Play with, but I guess we'll find out here in a few weeks. Again, completely expected, at least from my angle here, for September for Tokyo Game Show, because, well, they basically do it every year. Oh, and to follow up the Nintendo Direct that's happening at 9 a.m., we also have the Tales of Remaster presentation. I mean, the stream is set up right now and scheduled. You can see this over on their account for the Tales of YouTube channel. Just saying next Tales of Remastered is, and we kind of know, at least based on them having this go live too early, and we had an image of the thumbnail that seemed to show Tales of Xillia. Yeah, that's the expectation. They're going to show off Tales of Xillia Remastered, and I'd be shocked if it didn't come out this year. I think this is something that is ready to roll in a couple of months and probably set up for the holiday season. The question will be how in-depth is its remaster, and do they have any other plans that they want to share with us here, and this becomes more of a multi-announcement sort of presentation, or is it just specifically honing in on just Tales of Xillia in this new remaster? Well, again, we'll find out here in a couple of hours. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with Gamescom Opening Night Live. That'll be happening at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific, and there is a lot of rumors and speculation and teasing that's going on right now. So again, I thought I'd kind of put them all together, as well as even some fake leaks and stuff. It was a weird day yesterday. Anyway, a lot of that has to do with the anticipation leading into what is going to be a big day for gaming news and reveals. Let's start though here with Jeff Keighley, of course, and well, he decided to don the clown nose here, just saying first time, see you tomorrow for Gamescom Opening Night Live, and that playing course, into the meme of Hollow Knight Silksong, where they have the character there dressed up with the clown wig and the nose, because people just constantly ask for Hollow Knight Silksong, and it's never at any of these events, except until today. We already know it's going to be making the rounds at Gamescom, as Microsoft has shown it sort of in their schedule for streaming, and there was even images going around yesterday of a Hollow Knight Silksong massive board that was being designed and set up for demo units and stuff. So yes, I'd say we're going to get the release date for Hollow Knight Silksong. I think it's soon, and we should see gameplay, all kinds of info about it. It should be a lot of fun, finally, for Hollow Knight Silksong fans who have been calling for it to be shown again and again and again. It looks like you'll have your wish here starting today for opening night live. Now, from there, again, we have Kirby Air Riders being shown this morning. Nate the Hate did take to Twitter X here, saying beyond the direct, Kirby Air Riders will also be playable to media at Gamescom. It's important to know he's saying to media, which tells me it's going to be kind of like behind closed doors, sort of. Like, it won't be on the show floor, is my assumption as to what he's getting at here. So this won't be something where you're going to see a bunch of videos pop up. This will be stuff where media gets a chance to try it, and I assume it's going to be under some kind of embargo, to where eventually you will see just articles all go live, all at once, a week or so from now. Something else to keep an eye out here is a demo that could be live, or at least announced here soon, for Trails in the Sky First Chapter, as it appears to be live August 21st. At least that's according to a well-known leaker over on A9VG. And there, they do mention that this is a thing, and that the demo can be expected later this week. Seems like a pretty good announcement for the opening night live, where maybe it's in there and, oh yeah, it's them reminding people that it's coming out. Was that next month? And I'm interested in this because people keep telling me, like, with all the trails that, hey, this is where you start, this is where you start, this is where you start. No, this appears to be like the de facto place start, and it's being remade and modernized and that kind of stuff. So it'll be cool to see how it comes out there. But having a demo where maybe your progress carries over and it's just a way for you to get started early, yeah, I'll be downloading it and getting started early, especially since that game is supposed to be 80 hours long or something, so the demo could be 5 hours long, a sizable demo, and it's just scratching the surface of the entire game. Oh, and then we had this weird situation with Cory Barlog and the Sony Santa Monica game that's apparently, according to Jason Schreier, it's not a new IP, but it's going to be so far off of, I guess, the IP that it's based on, it'll feel like a new IP. It's trying to describe it. It's something we'll just have to see when it gets announced, to be like, oh, okay, I get what they're at least driving at here. But this popped up over on Facebook, and Game Informer picked it up and decided to run the story. And it seems to be a screen grab of Cory Barlog saying, I'd like to share a little bit about our project. I'm incredibly proud of what the team at Santa Monica Studio has been accomplishing. It's a technically ambitious project, something that's not easy to achieve. This is a new IP we've been working on for years, and if all goes well, we're planning to show it to you later this year. I couldn't be more excited. Now, the part, clearly, new IP and show it to you later this year, because then you start to go, oh, the gears turn. Okay, state of play, a new IP. Okay, all right, cool. Santa Monica's getting set up. It is an actual new IP. Well, turns out Sony has offered a very short follow-up to our outreach, simply writing, this is according to Game Informer, this account is not associated with Cory Barlog or Santa Monica Studio. So there we go. It was making the rounds a lot. I mean, it looks, from just an initial glance, it does look legit. I mean, you can see there, and people were trying to follow up and go through the history. Doesn't look super obvious to be in a parody account, nothing like that. But it just seems like someone may be playing around here with the media and it's like, oh, I'll put this out with the image for Cory Barlog and the reference to Sony Santa Monica, and that's sort of all it took at that point. And the last thing here, there's a chance we could see a new LEGO game that's announced at Opening Night Live, as LEGO Games News, who covers and follows a lot of the stuff specifically with LEGO, has been saying that it is a Batman game, and they're hoping for things like DLC and stuff. From what we could tell, it's going to be a LEGO Batman game with like a fully open world explorable Gotham City. No word if it's going to be announced at Opening Night Live, but it is a thing apparently that's happening right now behind the scenes, and we're just trying to place exactly when it would be announced, which Opening Night Live, again, the part with this particular show is that it casts such a wide net. Legitimately anything could be announced at a Jeff Keighley event. I know it was at the Game Awards, it was still a Keighley event. That's where we saw the brand new Xbox, which ended up being the Xbox Series X. So you really never know what could be shown. And it should be a lot of fun again later on this afternoon to see what Keighley has in store for us with this near 2.5-hour show. Next up, let's talk about a new enhanced edition of Shenmue 3. This we can see was posted. This is over on In Games, and I believe they own the rights now to Shenmue 3. And they did announce enhanced edition for this game. It's unveiling at Gamescom 2025. And they say legendary game creator Yu Suzuki and publisher In Games proudly announced Shenmue 3 Enhanced, the upgraded edition of the acclaimed adventure that stays true to its roots while adding modern improvements. Featuring overhauled visuals, performance boosts, and quality of life updates, Shenmue 3 Enhanced is the ultimate way to experience Ryu's story, coming to PC, PS5, and the game releasing for the first time on Xbox Series S and X. And with Nintendo, it just says, I guess, to be confirmed, or okay. So, look, we figure it's Switch 2. That would make sense. Maybe they can get it on Switch 1, but at the very least, we would assume, okay, Switch 2. They go over some of the key enhancements here with enhanced graphics and performance for sharper textures, richer details, faster load times, smoother gameplay, 4K texture uplift, so you'll just have more detailed and sharper looking textures, DLSS and FSR support, increased NPC density, so now it starts to go a little bit beyond just the idea of a bare minimum remaster when you're doing things like increasing NPC density. There's a classic camera mode, gameplay tweaks, which includes an optional stamina system adjustments, health restoration before fights, and reduced money barriers for smoother progression. You have improved interactions, menu and UX enhancements, and then optionality first. All major changes can be toggled to preserve the original experience for purists. Now, Shenmue 1 and 2, that's already kind of been redone and re-released, but also In doesn't have any kind of rights to that. Specifically, they just have rights to Shenmue 3, which is interesting. But to my understanding, like I'm not the biggest Shenmue person out there. To my understanding, Shenmue 3 was just like it didn't live up to the hype that was out there for this game, especially after that reveal and the hopes and the dreams of the fan base. And it's difficult to do that with a series that is almost legendary status for the fan base, and then they show up with, I remember the thing with Shenmue 3 was so funny when they first showed it, like the faces didn't really animate well, and it looked weird, kind of like dolls almost walking around. But beyond that, it seemed like the story really didn't progress much, to my understanding. Again, I'm not the biggest Shenmue person, but it's just odd to see. Definitely out of left field. That's the best way to put it for Shenmue 3 Enhanced. But hey, I guess you've been hanging out waiting to play this game. Hang tight, because it seems like they're getting ready to line this up maybe for the holidays or to start off next year with a brand new enhanced edition of it. Next up, let's talk about Microsoft and next generation for their Xbox platform, because yes, indeed, they are making new hardware. This has been something that's been debated quite a bit online if we just saw the end of Microsoft's hardware line for game consoles. No, they are doing something with AMD, and there was a recent podcast that took place, and it seems like they have some ambitious goals for next generation with their Xbox platform. This we can see, though, posted. This is over on The Verge, where they say Jason Ronald, Microsoft's VP of Next Generation, has appeared on the company's official Xbox podcast today to discuss Xbox Cloud Gaming, Xbox Play Anywhere, and Microsoft's next-gen chip partnership with AMD. Saying, quote, "Together with AMD, we're designing dedicated silicon and hardware to enable the next generation of gaming experiences. We're investing deeply in the next generation of rendering technologies, such as neural rendering, which will bring a new level of quality to games that you're having. We're also investing in dedicated silicon to enable the next generation of AI capabilities that will be transformative in how you actually experience your gameplay. Microsoft will start experimenting with some of these AI-powered features on the upcoming Xbox Ally X device because it has a dedicated MPU chip, just like Microsoft's Copilot Plus PCs. And this does become somewhat intriguing. This is like a new wrinkle, I would say, to this Xbox Ally X device to see what Microsoft can get out of that from the gaming side. I mean, it could come down to the system is just smarter and can maybe make better recommendations to you in the store, but also can maybe help you in different games as you're playing through it. Maybe you get stuck. Or it come down to maybe when it comes to rendering resolution and upscaling is just better at it. That to me is the big question, because it's so clear that Microsoft and Sony, they are looking at AI more and more as being something that can integrate deeply into gaming and in their mind make the experience better. But it is that idea of we need to see it in action and what they have planned, because it's hard for us to wrap our heads around it as like, what can AI really do for gaming that would make it just better for us? And when you hear about things like an NPU being built in, and then Sony on their side talking a lot about AI upscaling, seems like we're gonna find out here in a few years, but I guess here pretty soon as well with these Xbox Ally X, the handheld. So maybe I will have to get a hold of one of these, because I'm curious how all this is going to work out with future updates from Microsoft. They also talked about Xbox Game Pass getting a cheaper option that's streaming only, and that also makes sense for them because we figured streaming and cloud gaming has been, I don't say the end game for Microsoft or even the industry as a whole, but it has kind of been pitched that way at times as 20 or 30 years from now, you won't even need a console, you'll just be streaming everything through the cloud completely. That's, again, a future I need to see to believe, but I mean, we have been making a lot of advancements with this stuff, so who really knows at this point? But at least for now, we'll keep an eye on that Xbox Ally X ROG handheld that I still get mixed up with the name, and they got to kind of go back to the drawing board, I think, for that one, and we can see what capabilities they can pull out of that NPU chip that's installed with it, as well as just that handheld form factor and the OS. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about a game that's out today, and that's Sword of the Sea. And I've been keeping an eye on this game here and there. It hasn't been like top of my list necessarily, but I've been keeping track of this one, especially when we found out that it would be in PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium on launch. It is out again today, so it'll be out there and available for those subscription holders. But we also had reviews go live yesterday, and I saw them and I said, oh, okay, I think we have one here for PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium, because you can see this over on Metacritic, currently sitting at an 89. Now, this is on the PS5 where it has the majority of the reviews. And then looking over at the split, it's 12 positive and 1 mixed. Eurogamer gave it 100, saying movement, meaning, and mindfulness combine in Giant Squid's latest, a game of free-form expression and flow. Now, Giant Squid, you may recall, they've Journey, Abzu. So when you hear how this game looks beautiful, and it kind of has that almost meditative like environment to it when you're playing it, and I see the gameplay for it, some of the screenshots, it looks impressive with the art style. So I'm all in on this one, and I did hear that it's not a long game, so it might be one of those situations of, oh, you can beat it in a sitting, or maybe over the course of a week if you're playing like half an hour here or there. It sounds like it's 3 to 4 hours. So that, I know, it tends to be a drawback for people if you're just buying it outright. Seems like a pretty good one to grab in PlayStation Plus, however, if you have it, and then maybe grab a physical copy or something down the line when we get maybe one of those from, I don't know, a limited run, whoever wants to do it there, right? So that to me might be the best bet. Looking at Game Informer, they gave it an 85. Sword of the Sea moves at the pace of a magical swordsperson, speeding across sand dunes on a floating blade at 170 miles per hour, and never gives you a reason to look away. Some people were saying, I saw one review outlet mention SSX, like snowboarding. I said, all right, that's was not expecting that one. But then Slant Magazine gave it a 60, saying somewhat unintuitively, Sword of the Sea doesn't really play like a skateboarding game. Its trick system is too simple for that. Instead, it's more akin to a 3D Sonic the Hedgehog game. Okay, I know Slant Magazine was trying to like downplay that. Now I kind of want to play it more. It's a 3D Sonic the Hedgehog game, and then it's kind of a skateboarding game, and then SSX in there. I don't know what to expect from Sword of the Sea, but I'm interested at this point in gaming with how many games come out at all times, like every single day. I mean, that's half the battle. And before we go to the comment of the day, we'll take a look at the poll that I posted up yesterday, where I ask, is Kirby Air Riders Nintendo September game? 63% say yes, 37% say no. I do think it's their September game. And what I believe is going to happen, we do get the release date today after Sakurai talks for 20 minutes about thrusters on the Warp Star for some reason. But I kind of feel like we're a month away from it releasing. I feel like it's third week maybe of September. And then from there we go into October, which is Pokemon Legends ZA. And then from there we go into November, which is Metroid Prime 4. And then we'll see if Age of Imprisonment makes it out for 2025, maybe in the first week of December, or if that ends up in January or February of 2026. Basically, I think after this Direct got announced, that we kind of have their lineup set for the holiday, barring some other smaller releases, maybe remasters, remakes, or some third-party stuff mixed in. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Small Snake, who says, in my opinion, if they're releasing a game yearly, like Call of Duty, what's the point in buying it? They're not going to change the gameplay whatsoever within a year. Black Ops 7 is going to be exactly the same as Black Ops 6. Well, okay, so at this point, they're just spamming Black Ops, the name now. But for a while with Call of Duty, you would have multiple studios. They had like 3 big ones, and it would be they'd have a 3-year cycle to develop the game. So they would have a chance to change up some of the gameplay a bit, the setting, the narrative, the characters. You had different story arcs that were like intertwined almost between different years, because you'd have to wait a few more years to get the next Black Ops game or the next Modern Warfare or something. And it's just not the case anymore. It feels like it's, hey, they know certain brands there within the Call of Duty universe just prints money, and Black Ops is one of them, which is why we're just getting another Black Ops game back to back here this year. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. If you missed yesterday's Newswave, I'll leave it up here in a card. Or maybe you'll hear more about the disconnect that's been growing with gaming between gamers and executives, and how an entire generation is just kind of cutting back right now on buying games. I'll leave that right below it. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.